Well, good evening, boys and girls. Welcome back to another video or live stream on the channel. It's been a while since I've obviously said that. Different surroundings, back at uni, but tonight we're back with another live stream. Obviously, it's international break. It's pretty much done, so we can look forward ahead to obviously Southampton on Saturday, which is going to be a massive game. But tonight I'm joined by Lox and Ant to go through this season as a whole, really try and delve into what's gone on so far. I'll ask them their opinions on Cooper and whatnot. We've all gone through it a million times, but not on my channel just yet. Obviously, make sure to get involved in the chat, drop a like. I'll shout their channels out as well when they jump in the stream. But yeah, there's a lot to go through in terms of this season so far. I think the stats are quite interesting as well. Although Leicester have got the first win, it's still looking a bit dodgy in terms of the underlying stats. So we'll jump into that one as well. And just like I said, Southampton on Saturday, which in my opinion is going to be a must-win game. But yeah, let's get the boys in. Ant and Lox, how are we doing, boys?
All good, mate. All good over here, thanks.
Yeah, all good.
Good. You know what? We'll start off. Don't just shout both your channels out. Obviously, Ant's, got his channel back. He's back in business now.
Yeah. So Ant's Leicester Fan channel back with regular content. Buzzing to be back on YouTube.
Yeah, good stuff, mate. Lox.
Yeah, blue tinted glasses. Just lives whenever I feel like it, which is every day, unfortunately for some people. But all good, mate.
All right. Start off then. Obviously, I know we spoke about it on your channel a bit, Lox, but just give us your thoughts on the whole season as a whole. I'll go with you, Ant, first. Can't really heard you from it yet.
Yeah, it's been one of those. We knew it was going to be a hard season, like coming up from a championship. It always would be. I feel like we're making it harder for ourselves than we need to with some of like Cooper's decisions and how cautious and negative we are. But I think we'll have much more of an idea where we stand after these next 3 games than the games we've seen already.
Definitely so. I think it's been all right. In terms of the points we've got on the board, it's good that we got that. It's better than the teams below us. We'll talk a bit about it later. But Lox, you happy? You content?
It's not often I'm happy, mate. You know what? The weirdest thing is, with all the slagging off of Cooper that I've done over the last few weeks, like again, you just look at the table and you think, well, it's not so bad, really, is it? But my whole thing, I think we're better than. Well, we're definitely better than what I thought we were before the season started. Like, I think we should have beaten Palace and we should have beaten Everton.
Yeah.
So there we go. We're 6 points worse off than what we should be, in my opinion. And I think Cooper is probably to blame for both of them. Points dropped. So that's why I'm frustrated. I think a better manager would have us in a much better position than we are now, which is mad because we're 15th. If the season ended now, we're all buzzing. But yeah, there's still concerns. I think we're massively outperforming XG and expected points, mostly down to Mads Hermansen, I think. That is a worry because it's not sustainable. It will start to unravel, I think. So.
Yeah, 100%. I've got a little table of our expected points if I can get the right one. It tells you quite a lot. Pick the wrong one, but we'll go through this first in terms of our attack. So I think so far in terms of our attack, the underlying numbers aren't very good, but we have been exceeding that and we have scored some good goals. A lot of it's through individual brilliance, in my opinion. If you look at this table here, everyone in the chat, Leicester have got next year 5.1 and we scored 9, so that's pretty obviously just about 4. So I think that is it Roy? I don't know, because I think going forward we do have threat, but in my opinion, and I think we need to go forward a bit more in games because at the top, in my opinion, we're just not attacking enough.
We attack when we've either gone behind or the game's gone. It's like attack from the first minute. It's like it's very easy, and anyone who's played any level of football will be able to tell you this. But it's very easy to go and look like you've had a go and you're really giving it your best once the game's gone because the opposition play in a different way than when you're at 0-0 and it's a complete different intensity and a different style of football. We need to see that from the start, not from once the game's gone or once we've gone behind. Because I know I'm going back a long, long way here, but do you remember under Claude Puel we had that stage where every game we went 1-0 down, and it was always, the fight back's brilliant, the fight back's this and the other. There's only so long that lasts for. It's like, well, what is the root problem of us going a goal down every single week?
Yeah, 100%. Lox, you got anything to add on that?
No, I agree completely, which is why I keep saying it's unsustainable. Like, you know, when we hadn't won a game, you know, I mean, it was up until the game. You know, we hadn't won a game in the Premier League, and I think the criticism towards Cooper was fair in the most part. But now that we've won one, I think some people are starting to try and use that again, you know, as an argument that, see, we are good. You know, Cooper is a good enough manager. But I mean, even in the Bournemouth game, I mean, did we really deserve to win it? I don't think so. I mean, maybe a point would have been more fair from that one. Maybe even a Bournemouth win. We got very, very lucky. So it's one of them. If these games keep going on where we're just lucky to not be losing them, you know, again, it will run out. The luck always runs out eventually. And you know, with the whole the XG and the expected points, with us overperforming there, you know, all we need is Hermanson to have an off week, a couple of weeks in a row, and we might fall down that table. And I think, again, my biggest worry is when the teams below us start to sack their managers. So when Everton sack their manager, when Wolves sack Gary O'Neill, when Saints sack Russell Martin, you can only expect there'll be some kind of manager bounce. And when that happens, if we don't win for a couple of weeks and they do, you know, suddenly things are looking a bit shaky again.
Yeah, definitely. In terms of the teams around us, I think this is quite an interesting question, because I think going into the season, I actually thought our squad was quite good. A few of our fans didn't. But I think overall, if you look at the squad, the bench options as well, I don't think it's actually that bad. You know, if you compare it to your Southamptons, your Ipswiches, and even at a stretch, maybe teams like Wolves and whatnot. Did you honestly think our squad can compete at that level? And, you know, if we get a good manager and a better manager, it can really excel. Because I honestly believe the squad we have, I wouldn't say it's got fundamentals to go top 10, but it's definitely mid-table in my opinion.
It is if you play your best players, but your squad can be as good as you want. If you're putting your best right back on the bench who hasn't kicked a ball in the Premier League yet this season, Fatu, there was a tweet the other day, I don't know if you guys saw it, about getting the minutes in the legs or something like that. After he'd got 2 minutes on the pitch at the end of a Bournemouth game. It's like, I think there's plenty of quality within our squad, but quality in the squad and quality on the pitch are two different things. And I don't think we're seeing the quality on the pitch. I think we're seeing the safe pair of hands in terms of Jordan Ayew and these kind of players that are very much, they'll do a job for you, but it's just, again, cautious Cooper, isn't it? It's like football with a handbrake. Let's take the handbrake off, because like, I think this weekend more than any is going to be very telling of where we are now compared to last season, because last season we tore Southampton apart, not just once, both times. I think this is the first time this season where you can really use it as a measuring stick to see where Steve Cooper is compared to Enzo Maresca.
I've just been speaking to a Southampton fan, and you know, I asked him, "Oh, who are the danger men? You know, who are you looking at worried?" And he mentioned Harry Winks, Abdul Fatawu, Ricardo Pereira, and I'm like, yeah, well, they ain't fucking playing. Sorry to swear, but they ain't playing. Right. You know what I mean? Mavididi will, and I know, but you know what I mean. So the Harry Winks drop-in was probably the right call against Bournemouth. Of course, it was, because we won the game. I'm not moaning too much about that. I think it was needed, but you know, the fact that you do have three players there, and Fatawu, Ricardo, and Winks, and then if you throw Vestergaard into the mix as well, again, I'm not saying it's the wrong decision for him not to be playing, but they're four players who were so important under Enzo Maresca, and Steve Cooper seems to be just neglecting them a little bit. And I don't think I don't think that's a coincidence. I think, you know, we've heard leaks and rumours from the training ground and stuff over the last few weeks saying that there are a few Leicester players who aren't getting on with Cooper's ways of working or his style. And it wouldn't surprise me if, I mean, I'm almost certain it's Ricardo and Vestergaard and Winks. You know, they are the three that I'm almost certain are the problem for him, and that's why they're not playing much. So yeah.
Yeah, you guys have segued perfectly onto Southampton on Saturday. Obviously, it's a bit of a long way still in terms of previews and whatnot, but just a quick question: does Harry Winks start? We'll go locks first this time. No,
he doesn't. No, you can't change your winning side. To be honest with you, you know, I know I'm slagging him off for not playing Ricardo and stuff, but you can't play him in this game because we've just won. I know I said that, you know, we probably didn't deserve to win it, but we did win. So you have to be fair. And yeah, I think it will be an unchanged team. I think, maybe in a team where we're going to have a bit more of the ball against a team where we're going to have more of the ball, then maybe Winks is the better player to have in there. But against Southampton, we're going to let them have the ball. We are going to let them, and we're going to press them. And I think maybe Skip, Ndidi, and Facundo Buonanotte, who, Buonanotte even a great presser. All three of their midfielders are really good pressers. So I think they will be the three that start.
Definitely. I think Saturday is a case of transition, really, isn't it? And to be honest, Dan, I think that's where Leicester flourished so far this season.
Yeah, well, going forward, I think it's the only time we've really looked dangerous. I don't think we've seen sort of too many attacking plays where it's not been in transition, and that's to be expected. As a newly promoted team, everyone's going to look at us as we got to take the game to them. So there's no surprise in that. And also, when you look at the personnel we've got, it's pace, isn't it? Like a huge amount of pace. So it's not surprising. But I really, really want to see Fatawu start this game because I think this is the game. But if he was to start, I think he could have a real impact, and that would do him, like in terms of confidence, a world of good.
Yeah, definitely. Especially after last season scored a hat trick, 5-0, 4-1. So anything like that, I think would do us a world of confidence. And let's say in an ideal world, if Leicester did win. Obviously, we've got Ipswich, Forest on the horizon. We could be, get 6 points on the board from them, maybe. We could be in a good situation, and that's what can change. But on the flip side of that, a bit of a harsh question, I think. But let's say Leicester maybe got, I don't know, won one of them games, maybe got a point, if that. Would you sack Cooper?
I mean, I would. I don't think the board will.
No.
I would want from if we're talking about Southampton, Forest, Ipswich. I think we need 2 wins there. We have to get 2 wins.
Yeah.
If we got one, I would sack him personally. Like I said, I don't think the board would. I think if we won one, the board would probably look at it and say, "Oh, see, it's all right. We're beating the teams around us and all that type of rubbish." So, if we lost all 3, well, that is a disaster, and he should definitely lose his job. But everyone keeps talking about this mini league, around us. Everton, we failed to beat, and and obviously we've got Forest, we've got Ipswich, Saints, and Forest coming up. I know Forest probably aren't in that mini league, but these are the easier games on paper, and I know it's never easy in the Premier League, but you have to win the easier ones, and if you don't, then you're going to struggle because we can't rely on beating Man City and Arsenal and Chelsea. That Chelsea one's going to be a bloody nightmare when we play them. That's going to be horrible. Go on, Ant.
I think a lot of people could be eating humble pie with that Chelsea game, with everything they said about Maresca and how much Cooper's better, this, that, and the other. When we first appointed him, and it was very much, Cooper suits the Premier League so much more, this, that, and the other. I think there's going to be some real humble pie eating. And I really hope that's not the case because I'd love us to turn Chelsea over. But the way they've started, would you be shocked if it... Because the Arsenal game, I'm going to compare it to the Arsenal game.
Yeah.
4-2 flattered us, massively flattered us. On another day, that could have been 6 or 7 by the time JJ had even got that first goal. Like, you concede 4 goals and your goalkeeper's man of the match. I think that says a lot. I really, really worry about this Chelsea game.
Yeah, well, I'm glad we're on the same wavelength because, I think we all know the same fans are on about who preferred Cooper to Maresca, but I think that Chelsea.
Who do you mean? Who do you mean?
You know exactly what I mean, Lux. But in terms of that Chelsea game, I think, is it a free hit? I don't know. Obviously, it's a long way away. We've got more important games before that, but you never know if Leicester can get the wins in before that. There's always a chance against those type of teams. But I think Maresca playing against Cooper, I think he'd have a field day in terms of Chelsea's attack. I've got an interesting graphic from Opta in terms of our expected position in the league. Now, according to them, we're expected to finish 17th by the end of it, which I think we'll all snap our hands off. Obviously, this is where Leicester are right now, 15th in the league, as we know, which is ideal. We'd all take us finishing there towards the end. But I just want to flash back towards the season as a whole. The expected points, Leicester are 19th, which tells you a lot. And we've mentioned it already, but there's only so many times you can get these so-called lucky wins and get away with it. And we're down there with Ipswich, Wolves, and whatnot. Come the end of it, I'm pretty concerned with how we've started the season. I'll put it in the chat. I want everyone to let me know in the chat. Do you think Leicester will stay up or not? Obviously, yes or no. Locks, you think we'll stay up?
I mean, I don't know, mate. I don't think we will, and the reason I don't think we will is because from what I've heard, we're going to get another points deduction. We are going to get one for last season, from what I've heard. Could all be BS, but a small one. I've heard we're going to get one for last season. Apparently, the Premier League can punish us for the EFL breach if there is one there. And I just think that we're going to keep hold of Cooper for too long. We may well pick up 2 wins in the next 3 or in the next 5, we might get 2 wins, but then there will be bad runs of form. There will be. And if that does happen, I don't trust the board to pull the trigger. So, yeah, that's why I think we might go down in 18th.
18th. Think it'll be close, or do you think we'll probably get caught adrift?
Yeah. No, I think it'll be close. Yeah, I think it'll be close. Yeah.
Come on, let's have some positivity.
Yeah, I think we will stay up, but again, that's the first I've heard of any points deduction. So, like another one. So, if that is the case, it sort of changes things. But what worries me is when we saw it with Brendan Rodgers, is how long it took when it was turning sour to pull the trigger. I don't know if that was just because there was so much goodwill in the bank, and the fact, as much as we didn't like Brendan Rodgers towards the end of his managerial reign, he was elite for us for like the start period, and I think there was always that hope that he would be able to drag us through it. It was clear to anyone who sort of was watching the games that team had given up and they weren't listening to his ideas anymore. I'm worried Steve Cooper's going to have the same thing where if it does turn sour, he's going to be held on to for too long. And it's like, he doesn't have that credit in the bank that Brendan Rodgers did, but I don't know if I say I don't know. We're nowhere near as ruthless as a club as we used to be, where as soon as a manager was starting to struggle, they were gone. It didn't matter who they were. Like, loyalty in football, like, we know loyalty isn't a thing in football, but we seem to be loyal to managers, which I don't quite like. I don't understand it, because we've seen with Enzo Maresca, there's no loyalty in terms of a manager doing well if they're going to stay at Leicester. Yeah. So I don't understand why we should be then putting it up the shoe on the other foot. It's like, the manager's struggling, like, off you go. It's the way football is.
100%. Yeah. Tuchel's gone England. Graham Potter, anyone?
We honestly we're like an obsessed ex-girlfriend, aren't we? We're just stalking him at this point. I think we should look elsewhere, to be honest with you. I'd take him over Cooper, but how many times can you go back to him? And I think Ant said this on my channel the other day, but there's 2 different stories. One is that he didn't want to come because of... Sorry, I've heard one story which is about the Chelsea contract. There might be 3 stories, actually. One story is the Chelsea contract, hard to get around. The other story is the points deduction. And then the third story is that he actually just wanted a restructure if he was to come to the club. He wanted to bring his own... I think he wanted to bring his own director of football or something like that. So they're the 3 stories. If the last one's true, then I don't think he will be coming. Way, he's had a power. So yeah, if the last one's true, I don't think he'll come, because Rodkin's going to have a job forever. As how it's going at the minute, he's in bed with Top. So
no, you're not wrong, are you? I don't know. I think if it really goes sour, I honestly think the board will pull the plug, because you got all these rumours. There's no smoke without fire in terms of the players' disagreements with that NFL story the other week or whatever it was. But yeah, I honestly think a few poor results here and there. You would hope that they've had someone in mind, even at this point potentially, but probably not. But it comes down to that the internal review when Leicester got relegated. Let's hope we learn from our mistakes and pull the plug early. But I don't think that's
internal review. Yeah,
that was marking your own homework. I'm sorry, it's it's literally marking your own homework. And about saying about having a manager lined up. We didn't when Brendan went, and Brendan looked like for about 6 months he was treading on eggshells, if not longer. Yeah. And then the manager we did have lined up was Jesse Marsh.
And he turned us down. Jesse Marsh turned us down, for crying out loud. See how ridiculous. The board are just very, and they have been for a few years now. They're just very complacent. They just think everything's going to be all right, which is fine. That's a mentality that some fans have. But when you're in charge of a multi-million-pound bloody football club, it's very important to have plans in place. And for the worst case scenario, and that's what happened in 22-23, and it could well be the case this year as well. So they need to have some kind of backup plan. They need to have like 3 or 4 managers lined up, not speaking to them right now, but at least have an idea of who they're going to bring in. But there is no plan, because they told us when Enzo left that they were looking for someone of the similar ilk. I mean, I don't know what ilk Cooper's from, but it's not Enzo. That is one thing for sure. So, I worry on who they would actually bring in. It might be, you never know. It could be Jesse Bloody Marsh again. You don't know, do you?
No, Dean Smith again.
The thing is, it feels like as fantastic as Enzo was, it feels like they stumbled upon it instead of like having the intention of going after Enzo. Because obviously there was like Jesse Marsh was the first choice, but how different can Jesse Marsh and then Enzo Maresca be? It just seems it was more luck than judgment, if I'm honest.
Yeah, no, 100%. It comes back to Cooper again. We said it all over the summer, didn't we? We had Corbrand. I don't know the technicalities about that, if we went in or how close we got, but
I want him. I want him still.
Option. Oh, I do, yeah, 100%. But he ain't going to leave West Brom mid-season, is he?
Well, they've dropped off a bit, I think, in the league. So because if they were like top still or top 2, definitely not. He wouldn't come. But if they're like 5th, 6th, maybe mid-season, he might come out. You don't know, but. Still, I don't think the board would even bring it. Honestly, they were and ahhing over what, £3 million compensation, and then they spent the 8 on Ayew. Nice one, yeah, good decisions there, very good.
Unreal, innit? Anyway, let's get into the chat quickly. Jack, in terms of the tactics and whatnot on Cooper, the substitutes as well. We haven't even mentioned that. Hopefully, we can see some sort of change instead of bringing the Arsenal game was ridiculous. I swear he had about 3 players come on with about a minute left, and one of them was Fatawi, weren't he? So let's hope we can. And just like I said earlier, but our squad's not even bad, but we're not utilising the squad enough, which is a pet hate for me, and especially when it comes, the Christmas period. Fixtures got released today in terms of the TVs. They've got games every week, every day. It feels like we got Liverpool on Boxing Day, City a few days later. So yeah, we're gonna have to utilise the squad. And if you got these players, obviously you want to keep with the same sort of team week in week out, of course. But if you're not getting these players game time when they need to come into the team, they're not gonna be ready. And especially over the Christmas period, cliche or not, as a newly promoted side, you need to be picking points up, just like every team in the league. And I do fear when Leicester get a few injuries, some of the players won't be ready to step up, in my opinion.
Yeah, Bilal is one.
Yeah.
I know he had a shocking debut or shocking full start, but he needs to get confidence back again, man. You know what I mean? He didn't even play against Walsall, did he? Like, that's a good game to throw him into. Throw him in the Man United Cup game. I don't. Honestly, I couldn't care less about the cup. You know what I mean? No. So throw him into the Man United game. That's a big occasion for him. Just throw him in and see what he can do. And he needs to build a bit of confidence back, because it wasn't a good start for him against Everton. It was quite poor.
Mm. How do you think he'll fit in there? Obviously, Buonanote's came in, done fantastically. Do we see Buonanote on the right and Karius in the same team, or is it going to be something? Or I know you've mentioned it quite a lot, Locks. Karius playing a bit deeper. Is that something we could see, Ant?
Maybe, but I almost think that Karius has been brought into. Well, we brought Buonanote in on loan because we knew Karius wasn't ready yet to be like Premier League sort of like you look at Buonanote. He's been in the Premier League 2 seasons now with Brighton. He's ready to start week in week out. We've seen that. Karius, I think, is one that there's one eye on the future for, because they think that he can go on to be this like big star in the future. But I just don't think he's there yet. And this is where I think we're sort of, and like as much as I've criticised the board, this is one thing that I do think they've got right. Is the fact that they've brought in some very good young players, but also some experienced heads. So it doesn't mean that these young players need to be just thrown in. You look at Ipswich, they've just brought a load of young players, and I think that's why they're struggling. That they need them all to adapt straight away. For us, because it's just Karius who and maybe a Coley, but a Coley's taken to the Premier League very well. But with Karius, it's like he's got time. He's like we can slowly integrate him in. Yes, that Everton game wasn't great, but there's clearly a bit of talent about him.
100%.
Yeah, he looks promising. I just think you know, I know it's for the future. I know it might be. We might look back in 2 years and think, yeah, it was smart. But 20 million quid for somebody who's not, you know, not going to play this season or not play much is a bit, yeah, it's a bit strange. But like Ant said, hopefully he can improve. And you know, Buonanotte right now is definitely the better player. And he's the more ready player, that's for sure, as Ant said. But yeah, he's highly thought of. You know, across Europe, there were some big clubs that were interested in him as well at one point. So yeah, fingers crossed.
I think it's time will come, definitely. You know, you've seen players who start certain clubs and get into it, and you know, we've all done our analysis on him and whatnot. He hasn't got the biggest goal output or assist or that type of thing, but in terms of the player, I think he could flourish for us. But just talk about
I think he could be an 8. Think he could be an 8, mate. I think he could be an 8. Yeah, I do. I honestly.
Nice. Well, the program's gone. I think the profile. I think the profile's not bad, to be fair, in terms of El Khanous, and I think Leicester just needs to be patient on this one. But just before we wrap up, in terms of Buonanotte, in my opinion, he's going to be the most crucial player for Leicester this season, unless Fatawi suddenly starts.
It's worrying that that's a loan player that could get recalled in January. That terrifies me.
Oh, mate, I'm crapping it. Yeah, honestly, I'm really, really worried about that. The only positive, the only thing that's given me a bit of hope is, you know, they've got Rutter now. I know he had a good game against Spurs the other day as well, last weekend. Hopefully they're happy with him for the rest of the season. But, you know, if he continues carrying us for the next 2 months, you know, Brighton might look at him and think, you know, we're going to have to do it. And then I don't know what we're going to... Well, it will be El Khanous. It will have to be El Khanous. It will, you know, he'll have to be thrown in, which is why, you know, the club need to have a plan. They need to get El Khanous ready now so that if they need to have a thought that, all right, Buonanotte might go back in January, potentially. So, you know, let's get El Khanous ready. And then if Buonanotte does go, then he can fill in. So, yeah, it's a worry. And I think he's probably worth like, I don't know, with goals and assists, he could probably end on 15 combined goals and assists this season, and that's massive for a relegation candidate. So
easily, he's on 4 goal contributions already, and he didn't start the season in the side, did he? But obviously now he's an absolute mainstay. I honestly think Buonanotte is going to go right to the top. I think he's a brilliant player, 19 as well.
You know what's mad is he wasn't even the first choice. It was Matheus Sule, because he didn't want to come here. And like Buonanotte did, but Sule had started the season awfully for Roma. So funny how these things sometimes work.
Who's in the Argentina squad? I think that's the best way to sort that one out, isn't it?
Is Sule not in it? Is Sule not? Did he not get called up?
I don't think so. Well,
there you go.
Shame on him.
You just need Steve Cooper to develop you. Clearly,
get both. That's the best way. But yeah, anyways, I know you got head off, Lock, so might as well wrap it up here. But yeah, thanks both of you for coming in. Much appreciated as always. I'll probably get you on a few times over the next couple of weeks as well. Obviously, international break, not too much we can discuss, but back in the thick of it. Obviously, Southampton on Saturday, Ipswich, Forest, etc., etc. Some big games. I probably won't speak to you guys before the Southampton game. So can we get a really early score prediction?
I'll go 3-1 Leicester.
2-1. My first win prediction of the season. Yeah, 2-1. It'll be close, I think. It'll be a bit of maybe a nervy ending again, but yeah, 2-1.
Yeah, we've got to win, really, haven't we? Definitely another must-win game. So we'll wait and see. But hopefully, Steve Cooper can do the job. Hopefully the players can do the job, I should say. But yeah, thanks for everyone in the chat as well. Much appreciated. Make sure to drop a like. Make sure to go and subscribe. You know, Ant's Lcfc fan channel, blue tinted glasses for Locks. So yeah, boys, thanks for coming in. Much appreciated, and I'll catch up with you guys soon. Cheers, lads.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers for Ant and Locks for coming in. Much appreciated as always. Make sure to subscribe to their channels. Obviously, I just shouted them out. You guys probably know exactly who they are. Already, I think Locks is doing a live now, so you can feel free to go and check that one out. But yeah, there'll be a few more live streams on the way. Obviously, as you can see, the setup is a bit of a makeshift situation. The shirt fell down mid live stream. But yeah, Saturday we'll have another vlog. Southampton away, back on the away day. So hopefully we can pick up a win in that one. Ipswich away, I will also be there as well. So yeah, lots of content to come over the next couple of weeks. So yeah, make sure to go and drop a like. As I said, there's a few predictions in the chat. Going 2-1 Leicester. Carlos Tevez highlighted Buenanotte. Honestly, I honestly think he's going to go right to the top. He reminds me of a Paulo Dybala. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see on him. Jack, must-win weekend. Yeah, need 3 points, 100%. These are the type of games you've got to be winning. I think Ipswich are playing Everton as well. So yeah, some big games in this relegation area of the league. Obviously, you got Wolves. I think they'll eventually get their first win, although they got some tough games. I think they got City. So it's time for Leicester to really capitalise and make sure we step up and get another 3 points on the board. Win on Saturday and we're in a good situation. That's only going to give some confidence. So yeah, boys, thank you for coming in. Much appreciated. It's good to be back doing another live stream. Try and figure out how to sort this setup out because I don't know what to do. But yeah, I'll see you in a couple of days maybe for another run. Stay safe and up the Leicester.